Good afternoon. This is Jason Carrasco here from Connecticut again, talking about conservative politics, mafia history. I plan on going, right now, I'm going to be doing the conservative politics, talking what's going on. However, I plan in the future, maybe our first year, getting more into mafia history. There's quite a few things to talk about on that. And there's a lot to go in, a lot to talk about. First thing I want to talk about is those the Democrats. They still seem to be on meltdowns, particularly the far left of the Democratic Party. They still don't want to cooperate with Donald Trump. They're still going to give him a hard time. They haven't learned. They haven't learned from the past election that this fighting Trump, this lawfare. By the way, I've noticed that the Jack Smith is giving up, dismissed the cases. I predict that the judge there in New York, um, he recently said that he's going to allow the Trump's attorneys to make a motion to dismiss the case, which means he is. This just to show lawfare is going away. I know there's some concern, could these cases be brought back on January 21st, 2029, when Trump leaves office? I don't know about that. I think the way it sounds like from Eric Trump, that these cases are dead and they're not coming back. Hopefully, cross our fingers. What has to be done, by the way, Trump made an excellent appointment with the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. She's an excellent choice. Pam Bondi's a perfect choice for that. She has to clean house. We have to get rid of the deep state. We have to get rid of all these, uh, far left liberals. Again, I know I've mentioned the show, but I'll say it again. One time I was all in favor of civil service, but now I'm starting to say no, because a lot of these civil service people are Democrats or just foot soldiers for the Democratic Party. So I think it's time that maybe we go back to political appointments, because then you can get rid of them after 4 years. If you're civil service, you can't get rid of them. But what I like is this downsizing of the federal government too, getting rid of the deep state. Um, Vivek Ramaswamy um, wants to do really clean house, along with Elon Musk. They both of them do want to clean house. Something that needs to be done. Something I've been saying for years too. Uh, we have federal employees that work from home. We don't know what they're doing. And these people have to go. And, corporate America is saying, well, you have to start reporting to work. Well, it's the same thing. These federal employees, they should have to report to work too. And if they refuse to, they're out of a job. I think it's time too that you start laying off people in the federal government, downsizing government. Also, get rid of some contractors, some of these companies that have big contracts with the federal government. Those also need to be reviewed. Well, as for the federal employees themselves, a lot of them should be removed. Some of this work here in the federal government could be outsourced. Why not outsource it to private companies? Maybe payroll services, retirement services, things like that. That should be outsourced to, just say, an ADP, a paycheck, a company like that. Um, there's a lot of the federal government, to me, is ripe for privatization. Maintenance, upkeep, things like that. That those could be sent out. Now, there's a lot of federal buildings that are empty that employees aren't reporting. That I've heard now, these employees want to start. What do you call it? You're going to have to start reporting to. But also, if these buildings continue to be empty after these federal employees report to work, um, they should be sold off. They should be sold off the private interest. There's a lot of assets that the federal government could sell off, use it to pay down the national debt. And they figured out, both Ramaswamy and Elon Musk said that the federal government could cut at least $2 trillion from its budget. Everybody talks about the deficit every year, which is a big problem. But how about the national debt? 35 trillion in debt, along with the interest. Imagine what the government could do if we could pay off that debt, pay off the national debt. No longer have to pay interest. No longer have to make debt payments every year. People would cash in your savings bonds. But you know what the federal government could do with all that money? They could do a lot. The last time the United States was debt free was 1834. The last time the federal government had a budget surplus was in the late 90s under Newt Gingrich, the House of Representatives. They like to give, oh, it's Bill Clinton that did it. No, it was a Republican Congress, because you see, the president can't spend a dime without authorization from Congress, the House of Representatives. All spending bills start in the House of Representatives. So that was thanks to a Republican Congress. We had a budget surplus there. And there was talk about budget surpluses back then using to pay down national debt, and the country could become debt free. Well, that's something I like to see. If we could get back to budget surpluses, cut taxes, pay off the national debt, boy, we could do an awful lot. How about selling off a lot of this federal land, things like that? Also, Department of Education, that has to go for starters. That should go. I believe there's other federal departments that could be consolidated or could go. I always said too, and there's many good people in the FBI. I'm not saying that, but the FBI's got a lot of problems. This lawfare against Trump and people like him and against the Republicans. This has to stop. Um, the Constitution doesn't authorize a federal police force. Law enforcement was supposed to be mostly done by state and local governments. What I like to see happen in this case here is, and Ramaswamy did say it, um, that he believes that the FBI could be dissolved and the U.S. Marshals could take over most of what the FBI does. And then some stuff could be sent over to the state and local governments. That's something I like to see. I like to see more of the state and local governments get involved with law enforcement, things like that. And I'd like to see the U.S. Marshals take over a lot of things that the FBI does now. I'd say dissolve the FBI, let the U.S. Marshals take over those duties. That's something I would like to see, because I believe the FBI is too far gone. The stuff they've been doing does not say there's good people in the FBI. I'm not here to say that. But there's a lot that really aren't that good, and they've been doing bad things, harassing parents at school board meetings. That's pretty scary. That's really, really, really scary. And other stuff about what they did to Trump, going after people around Trump, including Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, along with other people. So this has to end too. This lawfare. That's a big thing. I mean, PM Bondi has a lot of work to do. She has her work cut out for her, but she's capable of doing it. I like to see, just the department cleaned out top to bottom and start over. Also, start getting rid of these people that are not doing their job. You get rid of people that are part of get rid of people that are part of the deep state, things of that sort. So hopefully we'll see some major changes. But I do like that finally we got somebody in there that's really looking to really cut the size of government, not just cuts in the increase in spending, but real cuts in government spending. And that's something we like to see too. I like to see too. I like, by the way, Donald Trump's idea of putting tariffs on both Canada and Mexico to do something about these illegals that have come into this country, all the damage they did with the fentanyl crisis, things of that sort, with the cartels coming into this country. I would like to see something done about that. And finally, we have, good idea. Put tariffs on Mexico. Put tariffs on Canada, because those countries need us. They need us, but we don't need those countries. That's the biggie. And maybe Mexico will finally start doing something about all these illegals coming in here, about illegals that are people from South America that are passing through their country, coming here. So that's a great idea. I'd like to see tariffs on China too, and other countries too. I would like to see where get to the point where if we could just eliminate the federal income tax and just rely on tariffs. I'd be all in favor of that. Let's go to tariffs and eliminate the federal income tax. I mean, that might be a tall order, but it's a possibility. Imagine how much money would be in people's pockets if we didn't have a federal income tax. All you would have then, of course, the Social Security Medicare tax, which I believe that should be privatized. And imagine the money you would have. Social Security each month, by the way, if you're, instead of getting $2,000 a month, you could be getting $10,000 a month. You privatize Social Security, very successful in Chile. Something I'd like to see in this country too. And also the money that you put away in Medicare, I'd like to see you have allowed to invest that. And when you retire, you could pick your medical plan. Right now, Medicare has become somewhat privatized with Medicare Advantage, which is better than traditional Medicare. But I would like to see something of doing something where the income tax, I'd love to see where the income tax is eliminated and we just rely on tariffs. Oh, and as for Social Security, I like the Social Security tax. By the way, you pay 7.5%, but your employer has to pay another 7.5% because you got Social Security and Medicare tax, FICA. So you pay 7.5%. Your employer pays 7.5%. That's over 15%. That's a lot of money, and it's a hidden tax. And if you're self-employed, you have to pay the full amount. Imagine if you took that 15%, you invest it where you want it, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. You'd be getting easily 5, 6 times the amount for retirement. So instead of getting 2,000 a month, you'd be getting $10,000 a month. That's something I like to see be worked on. But in the meantime, I do like that we're finally getting somebody that really wants to take on the deep state, the swamp, the administrative state, as Ramaswamy said. Uh, you have the deep state, which, by the way, which is the fourth branch of government, the administrative state, the fourth branch of government. Elon Musk said this too. Um, and if somebody's willing to take on that other branch of government and do something, because you have unelected bureaucrats making laws, and that's not how our country set up. Laws that don't have to go through Congress, don't have to go through the president, and finally somebody's willing to take that on too, the administrative state, uh, making laws that hurt us. By the way, the quote Donald Trump: "This country has liquid gold. We have plenty of money here. We look at our energy. If we were allowed to use the Keystone Pipeline and drill for our own oil, actually, before Biden was president, this country was energy independent. Now we're energy dependent. And that's why Iran's acting up Russia. If we became energy independent, we wouldn't need these other countries. We could actually export our oil and our energy to other countries. That's what let's go after. Let's do the, like Donald Trump said, the liquid gold. Um, there's plenty of it here. How much the energy industry, jobs that it create, money could put back in the economy, people investing in stocks and energy companies. Notice how well, by the way, the stock market's done well since Trump was elected president. Boy, you see, um, the country, I said, it's heading on the right path, and you'll see prices start to go down. But already you're seeing the benefits of Donald Trump being elected, which, by the way, he has the House and the Senate too, which is a biggie. We have liquid gold here. We have energy right underneath us. We have that we could use the oil here, that will be energy independent, and we could actually export our energy. And how much revenue will that bring into the federal government? Think of it that way. That'll bring an awful lot of revenue into the federal government too. And by the way, another thing too, with the immigration. Now, I give Tom, for pronouncing his name right, Holman credit, um, for finally, or Harmon, if I'm saying it right. He finally, we have somebody, Holman, that's how you say it. We have somebody here who finally is willing to take on our problem with illegals. Somebody's willing to do something instead of where we have Mayorkas that has no idea what he's doing. He's done a terrible job heading in the Department of Homeland Security. I can't wait till he gets fired. I'd like to see all these people in the Biden clean out. They've been a joke. They haven't done anything. The country's a disaster. Finally, it's turning around. Finally. And he has a mandate. He didn't just win the Electoral College. He also won the popular vote. So they can't say, oh, he just won the Electoral College. No, he also won the popular vote too. And he has a mandate. And there's an old saying once I heard, one vote to win, two is a mandate. So we have somebody there, Tom Homan, who wants to, the head of ICE, is going after all these illegals, going to do something. And anybody that resists them, he said he's going to put them in jail. Like the mayor of Denver wants to cause them problems. Well, he's going to put them in jail. That's the way it should be. It put all these people on notice, like J.P. Pritzker there in Illinois there. He wants to fight and wants to say, well, I'm not cooperating with ICE. Well, at least get out of the way. But if you become a problem, you should be put in jail. Another thing, too, any of these governors, mayors, they want to hold back with these illegals here, then you know what? Withhold federal funding from these cities and the states. Withhold any federal funding from any of these cities and any of these states that refuse to cooperate with ICE, with the federal government, in deporting all these illegals, or do it this way. Look, if you guys don't want to help, that's one thing, but at least get out of our way. But if they're going to really cause problems, where they're going to be a hindrance, then the federal government, like Donald Trump, I like his idea, should withhold both funding from withhold funding to cities like Chicago or Boston or whoever, and withhold federal funding to these states too, from like Illinois or any of these other states, Massachusetts, that don't want to cooperate, with withhold funding. That's the way it should be done. You don't want to cooperate, you're going to be a hindrance, then we're withholding funding from both your city and your state, and that's what should be done. But how do you deport all these people? Well, geez, instead of, we have ICE to start with. Instead of the FBI going after Trump and all this other stuff, which, by the way, you notice they're doing background checks on his candidates, which I don't trust the FBI either. But what should be done with these FBI agents? Okay, you got a new job. Start to work on deporting these illegals. That's what you should say. Not only ICE, but use the FBI. Use there's plenty of resources we have there. The other one, use the U.S. Marshals. That's what we should do. Use the National Guard. Use the Army, the Air Force. I've always said for years, we protect other countries' border. What about our border right here? And you should also consider using, hey, the resources of the Secret Service, any resources of the IRS could be used. There's a lot of resources that we have that we could use. Besides the Border Patrol, I mean, we start with the Border Patrol, bring in the FBI, bring in the U.S. Marshals, possibly the Secret Service and the IRS, use their resources too. Use the National Guard, use the Army, use the military, the Army, the Air Force, possibly the Navy, whoever you got. This is a foreign invasion. These what these far left loons don't understand. This is a foreign invasion. And you like to ask these far left liberals, would you want these illegals, these migrants living next door to you, being a threat to your family? Would you like them? Why don't you invite them in your house? Oh, no, can't do that. Well, why not? You want them here. These are these far left liberal elites, sitting up in their Ivy Towers. And, like J.P. Pritzker, he's a multi-billionaire. I don't think he has to worry too much about security, but the average person has to worry about security in their families. Some of these far left liberals, they want to live on an island somewhere. We have to live with the migrants, but they won't, they don't want to live with them. And finally, we have Mayor Eric Adams in New York City. I do give him credit for speaking out. And that's another thing I should add too. Not only should we use, federal law enforcement, be it starting with ICE and the Border Patrol, but we should also use, like I said, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, get the Secret Service involved, get the IRS involved, get the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the National Guard, use all those. But on the state level, let's start using local law enforcement, state National Guards, which, by the way, the governors can't stop the president from using the state National Guard, because ultimately they're under the auspices of the federal government. So you need, so obviously using the National Guard isn't a problem. But not only do you use that, let's use the state police, county police, local police. In New York, use NYPD. I mean, this is a full foreign invasion here. Let's start doing things to deport these people. Let's get them out of the country, and you're not allowed back here. If you get caught a second time, 10-year prison sentence, no parole. It's a foreign invasion. It's just like somebody coming into your house and refusing to leave. It's the same thing. But they don't look at it this way. And they say, oh, the Constitution doesn't apply to illegals and non-citizens. If you're here illegally, you're breaking the law. It's simple as that. Something they want to say. They're on the side of lawbreakers. Ask Lake and Riley, her family, how they feel now. How about all these other women that were killed or women that were raped? Let's talk about that. Wouldn't these illegals, how would they, what do you call it? How would they feel if something happened to these liberals? How would they feel if one of these illegals did something to their family? How would they really feel about that if one of them did something to their family? You tell me. How would they feel if somebody, did something to their family, one of their relatives? I don't think they would be too happy with that. But what's pretty scary is when you have elected officials that refused to hold lawbreaker lawbreakers accountable. And these are very dangerous people. You have gangs from Venezuela, Mexico, wherever, and this is something that should be need to be addressed. And I get tired of hearing about, well, weren't you an immigrant, product of immigrant? Well, my family did it the right way. And you couldn't just come to this country by walking over the border. You had to go through Ellis Island. I'm of Italian descent. When they came here, they did it the right way. By the way, I had a great uncle that was killed in the war in World War II. He came here from Italy, wasn't a citizen that long, and he was killed in the war. So he served his country. So I have a real problem with all these illegals here coming here, taking over. How about what it's costing us? These migrants too. All the stuff that we're paying for, healthcare, the schools, the cell phones. I never heard of anything like that. Geez, my ancestors came here. My maternal grandfather told me the story. He came here. He had to live with his brother and his father because they were here first, and or else he didn't have a place to live. And he didn't get anything for free when he came through Ellis Island. He had to go out and work like everything else. These people are coming here to get everything for free. We don't know who's coming here, and my ancestors, when they came here, they did it the right way. They were vetted. I mean, we have people here who haven't been vetted. We don't know who they are. And this caravan that's coming, it's pretty scary. And even the people here that came to this country, I know people here now that have come to this country from different parts of the world, but they did it the right way, and they don't want these illegals. They're not happy about these illegals. I'm finally glad that we got Tom Holman in there that's finally looking to do something about going after these illegals. Even Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, first he welcomed them. Now he sees that how they are, and even he wants to support the Trump administration. And I always said, not only just federal law enforcement, let's get local law enforcement about state police, county police, um, big city police departments, even small towns too. Use all our law enforcement capabilities, state national guards, you name it. Let's use it to all our law enforcement resources to go after these people. I had another idea in New York City too. I know correction officers after Hurricane Sandy were put out there to the street to keep peace. Use our correction departments. Use our correction officers to go after these people. Whatever it takes too. And you have to put it where here that's another thing. How much is this costing in medical care for these people here that come here? Medical care, education, the legal system that they're tying up, free stuff. How much we paying a night for these hotels in Manhattan for these people to stay? Yet you have homeless vets here that we don't take. What about helping the people that are here? And a lot of people, many African Americans, Hispanics, they don't want these migrants here. They don't want these illegals here. They're not happy about it. It's affecting their communities. Democrats are always for the little guy and this and that. Well, what about hearing about the minority communities that are affected by these migrants, these illegals that are committing crimes? Why don't they talk about that? There's no mention of Lincoln Riley. By the way, that Donald Trump did contact her family after she was killed. No talk about her and all the people that have been killed. Um, this is how these liberals are. I don't know if they're in dream world. I don't know if they have mental health issues. I just don't know what it is. But what I do like, somebody, I don't remember his name, said about Latifah James, the attorney general in New York, said, we're going to put your fat ass in jail if you go after Trump. If you continue harassing him, that's true. Start putting these people in jail. What's his name? Alvin Bragg there in New York, who, by the way, should be going after real criminals and not Donald Trump, should send a message to him. Look, you're going to harass him, continue. We're going to put you in jail. We're going after you legally. And I don't think it should be a case of retribution. It should be a case of going after people that are abusing the law and abusing the legal system. That has to stop. Stop abusing using the legal system to go after your political opponents. And see, it's not a case of, it's revenge and this and that. No, it's a case of, it's not, I won't call it revenge, but what I'll call it is a case of making things right, if you want to put it that way. If you want to going after people and doing the right thing, stop this lawfare, going after people that have been using the law. People say, "Oh, don't do retribution. Trump's there." No, what you need to do is go after people who are breaking the law, and you're breaking the law if you're abusing the legal system, which many of these people have been doing too, not only the federal but the state, the local level too. And that has to stop, this lawfare. I like to see Trump pardon these people, Peter Navarro, the other one, Steve Bannon. These people need to be pardoned. I see the January 6 people need to be pardoned. And I just don't see the Democrats the same old playbook. Like somebody said, their playbook is stuck in 2009. They're stuck from 15 years ago. The Republicans, to their credit, they have taken on more a populist movement. They've updated their playbook, and see now that the Republicans are for the working people, and they're for the people, also for the people that are trying to better themselves. The Democrats are all just about the elite, the Hollywood people, people of that sort, the coastal elites. That's all they've become. And this election showed it. This election was a mandate. That's why the Republicans not only won the presidency, but won the House and the Senate thanks to Donald Trump. And what do you get? Close to 45% with the Hispanics, some cases 50%, 20% with the African Americans, which is excellent. Young people did very well with them too. Um, so that just shows too how out of touch the Democrats are. They're losing their base. They're losing what used to be their base. They're losing it. And what Trump should do, start campaigning. So, start going to places, even the Republicans, places like the Bronx. You notice too how even California counties were flipped. Counties that went blue last time now went red. Look the gains that Trump made in California. Look the gains he made in New York. One Long Island, one upstate New York, one Staten Island, one neighborhoods in New York, Bensonhurst, Howard Beach, one places like there, Throgs Neck in the Bronx, Riverdale. He won places like there. So what's that telling you too? And I find there's two sets of, by the way, I just want to say this before I go, two sets of millionaires or wealthy people. You have the wealthy people, people that run a construction company, people that own a trucking company, people like that, people who built up their own business. And then you got the Hollywood's elites that are out of touch, have no clue how to run a business. The people in government, they don't know how to run a business. All they knew how to do was extort people, shake people down. That's all. More regulations, more taxes, things of that sort. So you get the two kinds. You get the wealthy, the blue collar people, the electrician, the painter, the millionaire next door. Somebody started electrical contracting business, didn't finish high school, worth $10 million. You see a lot of own car dealerships. Somebody that owns car dealerships dropped out of high school, went back for a GED, but dropped out of high school, didn't go to college, and now it's worth 500 million. So those are the Republican wealthy, and then you got the liberal Democrat wealthy are your people from Hollywood, those kind of people, the professors at Harvard or Yale or Princeton, those kind of people. The coastal elites, people in government that just made their money directly or indirectly off of government, your left wing college professors, people in the education system. Those are different kinds of wealthy people that just really I don't consider them earning that too. I mean, they, went to these liberal colleges, and all they do is they go there, they indoctrinate people, and they don't know any clue how to run a business, how to run a successful business. They didn't create jobs, do anything like that. And, as for Wall Street people, a lot of the Wall Street guys I know, they're conservative. You do have some that are liberal. You get these liberal CEOs, liberal corporations. Um, but there's some of those that work on Wall Street, financial advisors, people like that. A lot of them I know are conservative. Doctors, I know a lot of conservative doctors. And lawyers, maybe it's 50-50. You got your liberal lawyers, but then you got your conservative lawyers too. I mean, Kamala Harris, she was in government all her life. She never built up her own law practice, anything like that. Um, and any money she makes now, it's only because of on the backs of being in government. She never created a business, anything like that. Same thing with these Democrats. They didn't go out. They don't know anything how to run a business. And every push is go to college, go to college. So you get somebody goes to college, take up African studies. That's all. Where are you going to get a job in that? And then there's such a demand for the blue collar people. That's what I love about Mike Rowe. How many blue collar people are making more money than people that went to college? There you go. And there's the liberal elite attitude. You can't make a living unless you have a 4-year degree, which is a total lie, and it's not true. They're dying for people in the trades. They're dying there. We have too many philosophy majors, too many African study majors. And why should somebody that went to school to be an electrician or a truck driver, or whoever, say an electrician, have to pay off somebody's student loans or pay somebody to go to college to take up African studies or philosophy or transgender studies, something like that? Why do we have to pay for that? Why do blue collar people have to pay for that? And these liberal elites, too, I'm sure they need an electrician, they need a hairdresser. I mean, hairdressers could do well, too. There's also a demand for nurses out there, too, in the medical field, too. But uh, as for like the skilled trades and stuff, those are in demand. You don't hear any of the liberals talk about that. All it is college, college, college. And people have these degrees, they can't do anything. And what I think it's a scam by the liberals, you go to degree, go to college, you take up all these student loans, um, and then you come out of college, you have a degree that you're not employable with. So then you need the government to give you a job. You need the government to pay off your student loans. That's what it is. It's a cycle of dependency, cradle to the grave Marxism. And the 4 years you went to college, that's 4 years you spent. 4 years, maybe good chance, unless you work. When I worked when I was in college, I didn't go away and party a lot of, I know other people that work while they're in college. Which is say you go to college and you don't work and all you do is party, you come out with student loans, and that's 4 years you weren't in the workforce. 4 years you didn't put into a retirement plan. 4 years you didn't put away for a house, things of that sort. So there you go. So now you need the government to buy you a house to get you started, to give you a job. See, it's a cycle of dependency, and that's what they want here in this country. And by the way, with Trump in there, you're going to see more manufacturing jobs. And I've even heard there is some demand for tool makers out there that are needed. But I predict with Trump, you're going to see even a higher demand for blue collar jobs like manufacturing and the skilled trades. On that note, I have to go. Thank you for watching. Let's keep it on. Continue to vote for the Republicans and support them. Have a nice day.